encourage people to be vegan, correct?
Absolutely.
So what is your opinion on a lot of the vegan options, say soybean, a lot of the other things?
Yeah.
So when you have a soybean field,
Yeah. You know where 95% of soybeans go?
what?
Animal crops.
Correct.
Animals eat. Big
Correct.
and fat.
You also know that where soybeans are grown, you have to kill every animal you see
100%.
around there.
It's just not perfect. It's
Right,
not perfect.
right.
You're 100% right.
So what is your reason for vegan? That's the
intent.
What do you mean by intent?
So what happens when you go to the cash register and you give $1 towards a certain product? What happens?
Somebody gets paid. Somebody makes
Somebody
money.
gets paid.
Somebody is
Exactly.
able to continue their craft. Somebody gets to eat.
So, well, so it's the supply and demand is a mechanism about that, right? That's really a mechanism about it. If you put supply pressure on something,
is what you're saying?
yes. If you put supply pressure on something by buying it, they're going to make more of it, right? So when you go and you shore up and support systems inherent in just disgusting systems of violence with the dollar, you're literally your intent, like what you are saying you want to see in the world, is violence, repression. I could list off a bunch of other words that are actively done within the ag space.
Complex thought on sentience.
Exactly, sentience.
Right.
You know what sentience is?
Yes.
So it's an emergent property of the brain and central nervous system, right? So if we can consider, it's easy for us to consider humans this day and age. Look at this, we're all out here, everything's peaceful, everyone's having a great time.
Consider everything that you need in your day-to-day life sentient.
Every human is sentient.
Right, but do you treat them that way?
Absolutely. It's a mutual respect. It's kind of a...
You respect all humans.
Absolutely. And in fact, I respect all humans more than I respect all animals. I respect all animals. I put them a notch above. Right. But the cool thing is nowadays, you don't need to like animals more. I never even really liked animals. I just didn't want to hurt anybody. Right. So the whole philosophy behind veganism is reducing harm as much as practical and possible. And the reason I'm out here is because you're never going to see that message in mainstream media. Ever. Really? You'll never see it. Why is that? It's money. Yeah, it's money.
That's a bigger issue. That's a much bigger issue.
It's definitely money. We live within a capitalistic backdrop.
But the reason I say this is, you look at vegan.
Yeah.
Do you own vegan leather products?
No, I wouldn't. And I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Right.
I mean,
so my problem is, you get a lot of these vegans that are saying, okay, yeah, vegan leather, this, that. To produce a vegan leather, you actually create and pollute more with hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons as you would driving a 200-mile round trip.
I believe it. On the environmental basis,
Numbers may be incorrect.
Yeah. On the environmental basis, I could see that having a great degree of truth. But in that particular case, you're not taking someone's entire life away from them. You might be paying towards systems of oppression.
So you say someone, but I don't call it dog. Someone. As much as I love dogs, I don't know.
Do you have any pets?
I have 2 cats.
Well, I refer to them as their names. I have names for them.
Yes, but when I say this cat, that cat, I don't know your cat's name. You're a cat.
Yeah.
But I don't know that.
Well, your cats have names.
My cats have names.
Right, so
I
we can
have
see them.
Boogeyman and Millie Rock.
Okay, very cool. You can see that and you do that because there's somebody behind those eyes. You look at a plant or something coming out of the ground, you chop it down, it grows right back. You take an apple from a tree, it's going to grow right back. But we know there's an individual behind the eyes of a sentient person or animal, so we can take account for that with our choices during the day.
So I'll rebuttal with this. So what's your argument against Taco Bell? So Taco Bell beef. You may not know this. Taco Bell takes end-of-life dairy cows.
Yeah.
For the beef.
Oh, I would 100% believe that. 100%.
So that's how they're beginning.
And
it's shitty.
Yeah.
It's delicious, but still, like
dairy in general, it eclipses the beef industry's violence. Do you know what happens in the dairy industry?
A little bit, not a lot.
You know how they take a cow. I mean, they have to do this a million times.
Yeah.
They take a cow, and they put their hands in its anus. They hold down its cervix, and then they take a bull at a separate period of time. They jack them off. They don't, but it's not organic. They're forcing it. They're forcing it. Yeah. So you can have other words for that too, but we'll just say they're forcing an artificial insemination. They take the sperm, they supplant it in there, and then they get her pregnant, and then they use her, and they use her. And in the industry, they actually call, I guess the mechanism that they put all the cows on, they call it a rape plan. And this is just industry jargon, because that's essentially what you do.
But this takes into mind, like, yes, human.
Can I be annoying? Can you sing a little bit more over here? I don't know if you notice I'm on live YouTube right now.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I did not even notice.
No, I wasn't even paying attention. But yeah, go on.
Do you think animals have complex thoughts and feelings?
They don't have to. There could be like somebody that's mentally challenged, and they grow up in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and they have a mental handicap, and maybe the intelligence of a 3-year-old. But I'm still going to steward, protect, and help, or just at least not pay to abuse them.
I certainly would pay to abuse them.
Well, that's what we do with animals. It's exactly what we do. We are the financier of the hitman, essentially.
In a way, I feel like hitman is.
I mean, what would you call just cutting ear to ear and bleeding out? That's
a
death.
cow, a fish, a chicken, whatever. Yeah, but it's what's to separate us from them? That's the other argument that I have.
I would ask you that question. What
separates us from them?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, that's great that you said that. So reflexive.
Nothing. Other than yes, you can say complex thought, but we don't know. We don't know that animals do or don't have complex thought.
Exactly. We don't know. Just like I don't even know that you do, and you don't know that this person does.
We're
sure all going off of anecdote.
We could be in
some kind of matrix. Exactly.
But
our heart tells us. Like if I were to put a carrot and a puppy dog right there, and
I'd eat carrot. I wouldn't eat puppy.
Yeah, your heart would tell you. You don't want to slit the throat of that poor
societal
conditioning. Societal conditioning.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And since herding culture has basically emerged, then we're all taught what's nice, necessary, and normal. And we're taught that we need it for our nutrition. We tell our kids to eat it. We go on and we just do this just because everyone's always done it. And we don't think twice about it. And since mainstream media, like the monetary engine underneath mainstream media, profiteers off of the agriculture industry, then people will never have dialogues like this if we don't go out and prompt these dialogues.
Sure. I understand.
So what's holding you back? Because I feel like you're very inquisitive. You got great questions.
First of all, it's delicious. I'm a chef by trade.
Okay.
I love food. I love every type of food. I think there's a way to make just about anything delicious. Ethical reasons for certain things. There's a lot of things I wouldn't touch. But
you can make anything delicious. Like I've been vegan for 10 years, right?
But that comes back to my argument of the food chain. The food chain. What really separates us from any other animal? Assuming they are complex and they have thoughts, feelings, everything. Because
I don't think much separates us. I think that sentience is a very definitive thing we have in common.
Then what is? Sure, we're the most advanced of any of the species, but does that make a bobcat wrong for eating a rabbit?
Absolutely not, but they do all kinds of other stuff too. Lions literally rape each other. Like there's murder, there's infanticide inside of the nature, on the nature front. So we can't use what they do to say, okay, I can do it.
What makes us better then? What makes us better if we are not more sentient, if we are not more cognizant of our actions and the repercussions?
Yeah.
If they are no better than us and we are no better than them.
Well, you know what we have that they don't? Moral agency. So moral agency, they don't have that.
Why not?
Because they're not scaled to the degree of cognition that we have, and we don't know for sure. But since we have moral agency, don't you think? There's a Spider-Man quote where he says, or it's in the movie, and I can't remember. I think he says or she says, "With great power comes great responsibility."
I think that's an Uncle Ben quote from one of the Tobey Maguire movies.
Oh, okay. So the old school Spider-Man, the good Spider-Mans.
I think they were all great, but
I got you. Listen, I'm a little older, so I like Tobey Maguire. But he says that, and since we have moral agency, don't we have some kind of responsibility to steward them and keep them safe instead of literally paying somebody that probably doesn't even want to do that job. It's probably like traumatized from seeing all the blood, guts, and gore, to go and just have the animal present their throat to them so they can go unalive and bleed out.
You assume a lot of things. You assume that whoever does that job is not built for it. People go into jobs more often than not. They settle into jobs because they're built for it. You look at modern society, you see, you know, a lot of people. Modern society is built to condition everyone into a certain thing. But you look at, you know, older societies. There's the night watch. There's the night owl.
Yeah.
There's people that are naturally on the night shift.
Yeah.
Mentally, you know.
Yeah, they can do that. Can get desensitized to it. But if they're, I mean, is that good? Did they get desensitized to something like that? Because that's, I mean.
That's the thing. Why would it not be good?
Because you're taking somebody that doesn't want to die, their life. All comes down to the victim. And when you're taking a victim, the victim, which is the animal, and taking their life against their will, that's where that kind of moral wrong comes into play. No, it's not nature. 99% of the 95 to 99% of the meat comes back to the farm. So we're artificially architecting all this from our disruptive tech and our systems that can basically aggregate things on a macro, big level to promote efficiency. Like, this is not organic and it's not natural what's happening right now.
So you're saying society is not natural or organic?
Yeah, society built out a monster.
The propagator of population.
Yeah,
is neither natural nor...
Yes, and we have to question it, and that's why.
Sure.
We have
It's
to
neither
question
natural nor healthy for the earth, which I would argue you would not be wrong in saying.
Yeah, it's
in a lot
definitely
of
healthy
ways.
for the earth. I mean, 50% of the Earth's land mass is for animal ag. If we were to repurpose that to actually feed people that needed food, then there'd be a huge tilt paradigm shift.
Sure.
But society's got a veil. Industry has a veil over society's eyes, to where this veil is thick. And I had it for 30 years until someone told me. I used to eat meat all the time. I was eating forks
over knives.
Of course, yeah.
Okay,
of course. I met Rip Esselstyn, and I got to go to one of his events. And that's a great movie on nutrition. But we're talking about, like me and you right now, are the ethics of it all.
Right.
And the ethics are what make people change, not nutrition, not environment. But once you realize that you're doing something that doesn't align with your value system, because your action system probably says, I want to care for my cats, I love my cats, I would never hurt an animal. But your value system, when you vote for these products, is saying, I'm a hypocrite. That's basically what that dynamic is. I mean, there's really no question in that. Unless you don't consider killing an animal that doesn't want to die cruel. If you consider that happy and bunny rabbits and bedspreads, then my point's moot. But I don't think you do.
I hear everything you're saying, and I understand. I respect it. But say we weren't top of the food chain. Say there was another above us.
Like aliens.
Aliens, or say even something terrestrial that was above the food chain on us, that regularly hunted us.
Yeah.
And that was a fact of life.
That would suck.
That would suck.
Right?
Sure, but that's life.
Yeah, but you're not going to say, as being the subject and the exploit of the hierarchical, like the aliens. You're not going to say, that's life, take my life. You know what? I concede my life because that's life.
You fight, you run.
You fight, right? Like,
not necessarily, because at that point we would not be predators. Predators fight.
Yeah, we would try to fight. Our will would say we want to live.
Would say survive.
Survive. Yeah,
fight.
exactly.
But
you made my point there for me.
Right. No, I hear you. But you're saying that because we are apex, it's wrong for us. But say it's us, and there's an apex that hunts us. But say they're less cognizant, or a true predator that feeds and fucks and lives.
Yeah.
And the cycle continues.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of,
say tigers actively hunted us. Say we were tigers' main food source.
Yeah.
Would that make them wrong for killing humans?
Well, they're obligate carnivores. So like I said, we have moral agency. Like, they're obligate carnivores. When they're out in nature, it's not like they have an agency that says, this is right, this is wrong. We have moral agency. And
they don't have moral agency.
Yeah.
So then...
Would I say it's wrong? No, I don't like it.
What makes it wrong for us to kill something that doesn't have moral agency? That's the lack of conscience, the lack of cognizance,
but you're
that's lack of complex thought.
Yeah, but you're basically saying, if it can't feel, think, or operate cerebrally at our degree, then that's
wrong.
just colon. let's just kill them all.
Not kill them all. No,
Or kill
that's
them.
even
It's
just the
one.
idea of kill for use. That's the cycle of life. That's the cycle of life in many ways.
Yeah.
So what makes us different from a tree?
Yeah, but this is the circle of death that has been curated
Life
by
is-
industry.
you say
we're
circle
not.
of-
This is 99% of animals are factory farm. It's not like we're.
Industry, yes. Industry has many ways of that could be better. That could be a
Yeah.
million times better. But I think the argument is rather fix the industry rather than
Yeah.
humans should not eat meat.
But
Because
that's how
you
change
say
happens.
obligate carnivore
Yeah.
for the cats say that I have.
Yeah.
But there are so many natural nutrients that I know so many people that are vegans. I've had many friends. I actually was, after my mother saw Forks Over Knives.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
She
Yeah.
had a solid 6 months. I only know about it because of her.
Yeah.
There was a solid 6 months where she tried to make me and several of my sisters that still lived at home vegan.
Yeah.
And we had a big problem where all of us started cropping up with a lot of mental health issues.
No kidding.
I'm not
Yeah, I mean,
kidding,
I
because
don't-
our diets were not giving us the things
What
we
are the
needed.
nutrients that? What are the nutrients that you can only get from meat? That you should know if you're lamenting something like this.
I cannot think of that at the moment because I'm
Yeah.
on the spot.
I know, yeah, but there aren't any. And a lot of times, what people go into these things with confirmation bias. Like you weren't going into
There
that.
is, yes, there's
You were
confirmation
going in with a little confirmation bias because it wasn't from a place of like deep, visceral, ethical, decision making. It was from a place of you're being told to do it, and somebody
Sure.
saw something, and so the confirmation bias can kind of eclipse a lot of rational thinking, and you might, plus kind of in a placebo-like fashion, see things that aren't there, feel things that aren't there. I can tell you that you can find all of them on a vegan diet. And there's the myth about B12. B12 is animals are supplemented themselves. Meat eaters have to get it, and they get it supplemented to them via the animal. The animals don't even have it. We get B12 from a supplement. We cut out the middleman, and we don't have to worry about the cholesterol, saturated fat, hormones, IGF-1. I could go on for ages with all the cocktail that is inside said
No, I
meat.
mean, you can even talk about the cocktail of chemicals that are in corn that our body
Oh,
can't
cool, yeah,
break
for
down.
sure. I mean, the way
I'm from
agriculture
Ohio.
happens right now, absolutely. I agree with that.
I can't remember the name of the company, but there's so much even more bullshit
Yeah.
going on in the agriculture industry,
Yeah.
just simply in the...
It's because we don't live in a vegan world yet. It's because
Not even
farmers
that.
are not stewards of, like your whole crop argument in the beginning. If we live in a vegan world, do you think that would actually happen? It'd be minimized, that's for damn sure.
I don't know, because you say we live in a vegan world. Is
If
that a
we
vegan,
did.
Is that a
If
vegan
we did.
socialist world or a vegan
No,
capitalist
no
world?
political agenda, no nothing.
Sure,
We're talking
but
golden rule all the way. No
Cool,
political
cool. That's-
anything.
That's ideal.
And
That's
it's utopian, yes,
Yeah,
but
very, very.
it maybe not 100% realistic, but we can definitely make great strides because we're way fucking behind right now as far as thinking about others and not profiteering off the backs of others so we can get successful. So that I get when you came out with that argument, I was like, okay, I know where this right off the bat. It was a potent, potent way to start. But if we live in the vegan world and we started getting people to repurpose their farmland and not kill off cattle, but to grow plants,
Right.
and things would change. There'd be a better kindness in the air. People would proliferate their awareness into things like vegetable farming and stuff like that.
But this comes back to my same issue of you kill more animals protecting a vegetable farm than you do kill on
But the thing
a
is-
livestock farm.
The thing is, the animals got to
where's
eat.
Where's the killing?
The animals
But
gotta
that's-
eat.
But that food is not meant for animals. That food is meant for people.
If-
So
the-
you have to defend it.
The degree of food that's fed to animals is like 100x the degree of food that people, vegans, the 2% of vegans that are out there eat directly. Like if you're making that argument, you should be vegan as well because you're basically
No, I'm saying the soybean farms. The soybean farms. You have to
soybean.
kill.
Well, 95% of soy goes to animals, not vegans. There's 2% of vegans.
Sure, but I'm saying any soybean farm. So you have to have so
Yeah.
many more to feed all of the people.
Yeah, but if you look at the conversion ratio, here's an example for you.
Sure.
So 1 acre of land can produce about 250 pounds of meat. And that same acre of land, if it was repurposed just to do vegetables, and while you're doing this 250 pounds of meat, you have to keep flipping the soil. You got to keep flipping the soil because the animal's got to keep eating and eating
Right,
and eating
right.
and eating up until he's 5 years old. That's 250 pounds of meat, and that can feed I don't know how many people. You can just kind of imagine it. But if you have that same acre of land, it could grow 70,000 pounds of carrots, 80,000 pounds of potatoes, 90,000 pounds of tomatoes. All of this could be fed directly to people and feed a shit ton more than going through this energy conversion kind of very inefficient biological machine that cows are.
Right. The lack there comes into what humans do need, which is protein, complex proteins.
Yeah, but
they need all of that to properly.
That's just an anecdote. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
No, I wouldn't even call it.
No, I mean I'm saying I was just making an anecdote.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you have to look at. There's only so many plants that can support the human need for proteins, because we become proteins. We get all of our amino acid precursors, something like that. Cognitive and bodily.
Every single, if you look at an orange, it has a full list of essential amino acids.
Correct.
Full
But
list.
you look at the number of plants that can actually supply that for the scale that humanity is at this point. So you
need 45. If you're a male, do you know how many grams of protein you need per day?
Roughly, I think it's, I believe 1 gram to kilogram, or it is
You mean like per pound of body weight? It's
I think it's kilogram is the cleaner number. I don't remember exactly.
I'm not keen. I would just go with gram. But 45 to 65 for a male. For a female, 35 to 50. And this is as per the ADA, American Dietetics Association. And that's really not much. And as long as you eat enough food, you're going to get all the nutrients. You're going to get them all.
You eat enough of the right food, but that's where the problem comes in. You need that much protein.
It could go on this. It could go with meat eaters as well. I mean, if you're talking, you might as well spread that to just general eaters in general.
Yeah,
because,
sure.
And also you have to take into account that when you're eating, you're not only you're getting nutrients, but it's kind of like in a very kind of stretch of an analog, you're eating mud for the water. It's a stretch of an analog.
What do you mean by mud for the water?
Or you're eating, mud for the water. Think of it like this: the net effect. There's the optimal stuff that you're getting, sure, protein, calories, whatnot. But then there's all the negative stuff, the stuff that's connected to heart disease, diabetes, and cancer on a almost objective correlative level. And
I mean, I've looked into a lot of that. I'm not trying to get tough, but I've looked into a lot of that, and there's so many different sources saying which little thing is a contributor to cancer, but cancer is a very
cancer's more anomalous, by its nature. But heart disease is not anomalous. Heart disease is very cause and effect. Fat
yes.
and cholesterol, and all this is loaded to the umpteenth degree inside of those animal products. And when we overconsume, it's just
right. So
a bad net effect. And it's kind of like drinking, you're kind of just getting
sure.
the water from, the mud or whatever. Or drinking soda for the water. There's a better one. Drinking soda for the water. That's a stretch of an analog, but with plants, you're in a much safer space. Much safer space.
I see that, but you also have to, you say, sure, an animal has a lot of fat in it, but you don't eat the whole animal. You take the meat and you use that to eat, and then you may eat some of the fat, but you also use the rest of the fat and a lot of the rest of the products for a lot of other things. So at what point does it say? So we're still in the food chain. We're still an animal. Are we not part of the animal kingdom?
We are animals, and we are killing animals.
So what do animals do?
Yeah, we are killing.
Animals that eat animals kill animals.
Yes, exactly, but we don't have to.
So
it all comes back to the fact that you have a choice.
Could we go against nature?
We don't have to, and that's nature kind of propped up by industrial and historical context and biased historical context.
But that's still nature propped up. You're arguing more of a nurture argument.
But we don't need to. Nature went away when herding culture started 10,000 years ago. Nature, the whole nature argument and living off the land, that no longer was a thing because we started curating and playing God with these agricultural systems that are just disgusting, abhorrent, and violent. And once we got away from that, the whole nature thing is off the table. You can't compare eating meat, it's not natural. It's literally you're killing a 3-year-old, or you're killing a 2-year-old, or chickens are 42 days old. This is in effect what you're doing when you're voting for meat, cheese, milk, and eggs. Is you're killing a young individual, and it's not manly.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Eating unfertilized eggs.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like a vegan loophole, isn't it?
But what's the argument then?
Well,
so
you're still
that's
taking.
You're still taking fantastic source of protein.
Yeah.
Now, what's the ethics on it?
Well, you're still taking something.
Egg.
You're taking something from someone as far as your personal gain, and you don't need to.
Sure, but what would they gain from that? That unfertilized egg. What would they gain? What would that chicken gain from that?
It's just
never
like
gonna happen.
if somebody took something from me or somebody took something from you that you produced bodily and decided to put it to their own.
But they also
source.
give something back to the chicken. They feed the chicken. They provide for that chicken.
Well,
It's a trait.
it's a perspective, but that's not really what we're talking about. What we're talking about is
This is still an argument.
This is kind of a peripheral we're going off on. The real big thing
a little
is,
bit, yes, I'll give you that. But
I'm just talking to people, so I want to know what your hang-up is. Why can't you go vegan? All these other hypotheticals and kind of instances, there's something.
many reasons, first and foremost, in this day and age, to properly feed myself, give myself all the macro and micronutrients that I need.
Yeah.
For my body to function properly and not have any hang-ups in any way.
What if I gave
it
you
is
something
not
that,
economical?
What if I gave you something that would educate you on that, and you could find out what you could do? Like I don't have cars on me right now.
Sure.
As I usually do, but there's a website called Challenge 22 where they hook you up with a nutritionist. It's all free, and if you have any question about anything, they answer the question for you, and they'll help you come up with a viable diet. This website's been around forever. It's helped thousands of people, but it's a matter of education and not letting the kind of status quo make you think that you need it, because you don't need anything else.
I certainly don't.
You just need to eat, and that's it. Once you tap out and you're full, you're good. You know, you don't have to overthink it. There's not this like great blueprint that you have to follow. I mean, I've been vegan 10 years. I don't even look at my diet. I just eat until I'm full. You know, I eat beans, rice. I'll have oatmeal. I'll have sandwiches. Sometimes I'll have a vegan burger. For the most part, I eat whole food, plant-based. But it's really easy once you do it for a while, and you can get good at it. And the best part about being vegan is you're aligning your action system with your value system. That's the best part about it, because we're all off kilter when we're acting and we're doing what we're doing as far as shoring up these systems. These systems are terrible. And if you were on the front lines and you saw what was happening to these things, to these poor animals, oh my God,
I've seen it
just
this.
disgusting.
I'm
And we're
from
teaching.
Ohio, so
Yeah.
I didn't personally. I grew up in the city, but I had several friends that had family members that had farmland, and whether cattle or whatever other kind of farm. Many people even in the city still had chicken coops, but you know they fed the chickens, and when the chickens got older, they slaughtered them. When they stopped producing eggs, mostly
Take one of my cards, my
Sure.
YouTube. Okay, my name's on there, and my YouTube channel is connected to my name. I have a little YouTube channel, and I do dialogues like this.
Sure.
And I have,
I'm
friends,
sure I'll be on YouTube at some point.
And I have friends. Well, I mean, is it okay with you?
I couldn't care less.
I mean, we're trying to spread the word and get these dialogues going, so I really
absolutely.
appreciate you coming over. You didn't have to do that. I really appreciate you showing interest, and because you showed interest, that tells me that you have an open mind.
I do,
You know,
yeah.
a lot of people will walk by, and I got so many boomers tonight. They're just shaking their heads because they're in their own heads. They're solidified by industry. You're not going to change their mind.
I'm
You're
here
not
because
gonna
I
change their
live for a
mind.
good argument and a good debate.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
a
Well,
respectful one.
Yeah, well,
but
I
still.
appreciate your. If you could just really, spend some time, maybe think about it and steep with.
And I'm sure there's a lot I don't know.
Yeah.
Plenty I don't know.
Well, the nutrition thing is, I can tell you, it's completely off the table. You can do so well without it. The ethics thing is what is really got to resonate with you, because if something's strong enough and potent enough, you'll make the change and it will not be hard at all. And then you'll feel a harmony kind of come over you. And you're a chef, you can do all kinds of plant-based stuff with meat, cheese, milk, and eggs. But you can turn into a ninja. Like Derek.
Eggs.
You can find tofu. You can find tofu. You can scramble it. You can prep it in certain ways.
Right. There's the old the textured vegetable protein sloppy joe.
DDP. Yeah.
I'm well
there
aware.
you go.
I'm well aware. I know all of the things.
Yeah.
But not all of it. But you know. My bigger issue with that is, so we have this land that is used. This is my biggest counter argument. I'm trying to build up to is. You have all of these people that need to be fed the proper nutrients. We only have so much land. You can get a lot of these nutrients without having to cycle crops properly, efficiently. Like the level of logistics that it would take to properly cycle crops in all the different parts of the world, to properly provide for the human populace the proper nutrients. It's so much more. It's a logistical nightmare without destroying the soil. Because you can't say, okay, this is our dedicated 500 acres of soybean fields, yada yada. Okay, that can't be soybean fields again,
We
3
keep
years
growing
from now.
and growing and growing. Have you seen Cowspiracy or heard of that movie?
I've not.
It's on Netflix. Check it out. It'll articulate all like the land stuff and how repurposing land for plant ag would be like.
Right,
like
but then you
a
have
huge.
to remember crop cycling.
Yeah.
So-
they go pretty deep. They go pretty deep. And
I'm sure they've thought about it a lot more than I
yeah, they
have.
stop by a lot of the green organizations and they get their thoughts. And a lot of these green organizations, they kind of like push them to the side
You're saying
they don't
green or grant?
green organizations like Greenpeace and wildlife type organizations that are supposed to steward the land and steward the environment. What they found was that the monetary interest, as far as getting donations, their whole want for that eclipsed their having an open mind and listening to some of the researched content that the film creators have. And it's a really kind of interesting watch because there's some heated moments in it, but they're moments that'll make you think. But they lay out very clearly via diagrams on the screen how the land use would be so much more optimal than feeding all these animals 3 times a day, 80 to 90 billion of them, 80 to 90 billion per year. You know how many humans are on the planet right now?
8 billion-ish?
Yes, yeah,
8
around
billion-ish?
that, around that. But 80 to 90 billion. Then you got sea agriculture. There's like trillions and trillions of farm fish that they're feeding and feeding and feeding.
Don't even get me started on
zones.
farm fish. I know how unethical that shit is.
Yeah,
Also
yeah.
unsafe to even eat.
Yeah, yeah.
Because mercury levels, all sorts of other
Oh.
bacteria.
You don't need fish. You don't need anything in fish. Fish get omega-3 from algae. You can just get an algae supplement if you're worried about omega-3.
I'm sure.
But there's other stuff like chia seeds, walnuts, and flax that they can synthesize.
I love chia and flax seeds. I put
Yeah,
those
they
in
can
my yogurt
synthesize
every morning.
omega-3. You can get omega-3
I
from
did not. I was not aware I was getting omega-3 from that.
Yeah, yeah.
I was
Now,
not
the
aware.
degree of which you would get from taking a supplement, not as absorbable, not as potent, the degree of which you would accept that, but you still get omega-3.
You get it, and that's not even something I thought about, which is a whole different argument. Is the bioavailability of these things in different things. So sure,
Yeah.
there's a lot of protein in soybean. How much of that is actually bioavailable for a human? Which
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I wouldn't say I know 100%, but I would say that it's probably not that important because we are now proving that, there's no like
Right.
objective data like on that showcases that. I've never seen it. And like the most optimal bioavailable protein would be like me eating you. That would be the best.
Absolutely.
But I don't think that's what we're supposed to do, and that's not what nature designed either. But that would probably be the best because we're getting a full blueprint. Think about milk. Think about how unnatural.
That's a whole
drinking
different
from
argument.
right?
Cow's milk,
But it's
yes.
an animal. But it's in the same
natural
space.
human
Yeah. So
is lactose intolerant after was it 8
Right?
months in age or whenever you're supposed
Yeah.
to stop breastfeeding.
think about
Most
that.
people
Yeah.
become lactose intolerant. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So and it's like you can really parlay that into
That's
the
a
animal
technique.
space.
Sure.
It's not like we're doing something like hunters do. Like we're going out and we're being all manly and we're just wrestling a deer or some kind of beast. We're literally killing a 2-year-old, and we're paying someone else to do it, or a 5-year-old. Or I think cows most of the time they're culled at like 5 years old. That's like a toddler. My daughter's 1 year old.
But that's a toddler to us.
Yeah,
But
but
a
to
cow
them,
lives.
yeah, I
in the
guess if we're
wild
looking at like
for-
if we're looking at like the 9 lives perspective, or the times 7 times 9, it's different. But they're still little young, helpless beings, and it comes down to: do I want to be a violence exactor, or do I want to be a protector? And it's that simple, and it's determined from your intention and vote with a dollar.
I think though also the removal of humans, because humans have been around for however many years you want to argue that humans
Yeah.
have been around for. But and that's the argument of the world's been around for God knows how long. That's a religion thing. But
Yeah.
the beasts of the land were. What's my word?
They were more.
No,
Like-
the beasts from the land of the land. Again, it's what makes them different from us.
Yeah. Well, I would say the moral agency. I think we covered that. Though.
We did, but
So your biggest hang-up would be your nutrition.
no. My biggest hang-up is you say we are so much more advanced than them.
Yeah.
But if we are so much more advanced
Like-
than them, then
What
what do
that's
they
a might
feel?
that's a might is right, like
What
philosophy.
do they feel?
Well, we
Do
know
they
they feel.
feel as people? Do they feel anything?
Yeah, well, we know
Do
that.
they have conscious thought.
There, to some degree of it, we're not privy to. Of course they do. You know, when you see an animal's eyes going back and forth, you know they're thinking. You know that there's some degree of.
Is it thinking or is it instinct?
Well, whatever it is.
That am I in danger? Yes or no?
It still doesn't absolve from the sentient tissue. Like the sentient tissue, there's a clear line. Plants are not sentient, animals are. And then when you move to animals up to humans, the clear line.
What makes the difference? What makes plants not sentient? There's plants that move. There's plants grow towards their life-giving properties.
Sentience is an emerging property of having a CNS and a brain. So plants have neither of those. When you say you cut down
I would
a tree,
argue that plants have a very central nervous system.
No, they don't. It could be some kind of robust peripheral anomalous type thing that we haven't quite understood yet, but they definitely don't have an objective CNS because we could see it if we open them up. Maybe it's microscopic to some crazy degree, but I know you're not here defending plants.
No, I'm not trying to say you should stop eating plants.
I know you're not. It's kind of a red herring we get off track.
Is this tree alive or is it not?
Of course, it's alive, but there's a difference between alive and sentient. Big difference. Like that phone right there is reactive. You know,
sure, but it's
push a
definitely
button,
not alive.
it's gonna.
It doesn't grow on its own.
But it can react to stimuli, just like that. It's alive, and that's what they do. They react to stimuli.
Plants, yes, they react to stimuli.
Yeah.
Is that or is that not a mark of sentience?
No, it's not a mark of
Reaction
sentience.
to stimuli.
It's an emerging property of the CNS in the brain. You can look up the exact definition of it. There is no sentience there. But anyway, I want you to think about it. I want you to take the card, maybe look up my YouTube channel. I appreciate you coming over here.
I'll give you the
opportunity
opportunity
to talk to
somebody else.
No, but it's been a good conversation.
It has been.
I hope I at least.
Very respectful.
What's your name?
Jay, I'm Jim. Jimmy, nice to
Fellow
meet you.
Jay. Well, have a great night. And we're gonna run into you somewhere else. I'm gonna be out here probably every 2 weeks, just to start some healthy dialogue. And I really appreciate you stopping by.
Absolutely, sir. Take care of yourself.
All right, sir.
I'll check you out, brother.
Sounds good. All right, man.